So, very good afternoon to all of you. Today, I'm going to deliver a talk on plagiarism detection tools, Turnitin and Urkund. So, this is the outline of my today's presentation. I will discuss in brief about what is plagiarism and what are the various ways through which we can avoid the plagiarism. I will also discuss with you MHRD initiatives for preventing plagiarism in higher educational institutions. And in 2018, UGC has notified a regulation which is known as Promotion of Academic Integrity and Prevention of Plagiarism in Higher Educational Institutions. So I will discuss with you the key highlight of this regulation, and at the end of my presentation, I will give you a live demo of Turnitin and Urkund anti-plagiarism software. As we know, both these softwares, they are very well-known software and they are very common software specifically for checking the similarity of any research manuscript. So I will log into both these systems and will let you know how you can submit the document and what are the features available in both the software so that you have a fair understanding about how a faculty and the research scholar they can use this software for checking the similarity of any research manuscript. Now talking about what is plagiarism and what are different types of plagiarism. So this word plagiarism is derived from the Latin word plagiarius, which means a kidnapper. So if anyone is taking someone else's work or idea and passing them as one's own without crediting the source, that is basically known as plagiarism. And if you read this definition, which I have taken from Merriam-Webster online dictionaries, it says plagiarism means practice of taking someone else's work or idea and passing them as one's own without crediting the source. So if you are taking someone else's work or idea which is published in some other form by anyone else, in that case you have to give the credit to the original source. If you fail to do this, that means you are doing the act of plagiarism. Now let's discuss about what are the different types of plagiarism. And if you can see from this slide also, the first and serious form of plagiarism is known as global plagiarism. And what is this global plagiarism? Global plagiarism means presenting an entire text by someone else as your own work. Now, in the past, there were few cases where it has been reported that a thesis which is submitted by some research scholar in some other university has been submitted by some other research scholar in different university, and PhD has been awarded to two different research scholar based on that particular single PhD thesis. So that is why the UGC they have developed a platform which is known as Shodhganga, and one of the purpose is to avoid the duplication and to avoid the plagiarism. So whenever you are presenting an entire text and you are presenting that this is your own text, that will come under the category of global plagiarism, and this is considered as one of the most serious form of plagiarism. Now the next type is paraphrasing plagiarism. Now what is basically a paraphrasing? Paraphrasing means when you are rewriting something in your own word. Now there is a no harm if you are doing paraphrasing, but if you are not giving credit to the original source, that will call as a paraphrasing plagiarism. So whenever you are doing paraphrasing of some original work, in that case you have to give citation just to avoid the plagiarism. Now the next category is called verbatim plagiarism. And what is this? When you are copying a passage of text without citation. Now for example, you are writing your research paper and you have taken something as it is from some other published sources. If you are taking something as it is from already published sources and you are not giving credit to the original source and you are not also putting that particular sentence or that particular paragraph under quotation mark, that will come under the category of verbatim plagiarism. Now next category is called Mosaic Plagiarism. What is this? When you are combining text and ideas from different sources without citation, right? So if you are taking something from one source and then you are writing something which you have taken from different sources, if you are taking the work from different sources and you have failed to give citation to the original sources, that will leads to the another type of plagiarism which is called as mosaic plagiarism. Now next category of plagiarism is called self-plagiarism. And what is this self-plagiarism? Self-plagiarism means reusing passages and ideas from your own previously submitted work. Now what happens when you publish your research paper? So whenever you publish your research paper, you sign a copyright agreement with the publisher. So once your paper is published with some journal, then your paper will become copyright material of that particular publisher. So when you are writing your another paper and you wanted to take something from your own paper which you have published in some other journal, in that case also you have to give citation to your previously published work. And if you are failing to do this thing, that means you are involving yourself in the act of self-plagiarism, right? So whenever you are taking something from your own work, and that work, if you have published with some other journals, in that case, you have to cite your own paper just to avoid the self-plagiarism issue. Now, next thing is incorrect citation. Now, there are many studies where it has been reported that one of the major cause behind the plagiarism is the researcher, they don't know how to cite right. So if you have failed to give a complete bibliographical information following a particular citation style, that will leads to the incorrect citation, right? And this is again another form of plagiarism. Now the next category is replication. And what is this replication? When you submit your research paper to various journals or multiple journals at the same time. And suppose if your submitted paper has published in 2 or 3 journals, you will be in serious trouble because that comes under the category of replication, and replication is considered as a one of the most serious form of plagiarism. So whenever you are submitting your research paper to any journal, you have to wait for their acceptance or rejection. So once you will get the rejection from the editor, in that case only you can submit your research paper to some other journal. But few research scholars, due to hurry to publish their research paper, sometime what they do, they submit their research paper to 2 or 3 different journals. So this thing you should avoid. Otherwise you will be in serious form of trouble. Now, next category is called misleading attribution. And what is this? This is whenever you are writing the name of the authors of your research paper, you try to involve only those authors which have actually contributed in that particular research paper. Now, sometime due to some pressure or just to, maintaining the good relationship with our professional colleagues, we put their name in our research paper. That is why there is now a practice which is being followed by some of the topmost publishers that whenever you will submit the name of the authors, they will ask you what type of contribution they have done in that particular research work. So you should be always very careful while submitting the list of the authors of research paper. And the last category of plagiarism is called unethical collaboration. What is this? Suppose if you are working in some collaborative project and you have published the research paper based on that collaborative work. So it's your duty, it's as per the research ethics, it says that whenever you are publishing any research, which is basically a collaborative research in a nature, in that case, you have to acknowledge the agency or the collaborative team or the funding agencies which have funded that particular project. So whenever you are working in some collaborative project, in that case, you have to acknowledge that particular team or that particular university or the funding agencies which have funded that particular project. Now, when we talk about the types of plagiarism in the form of seriousness, so in this slide, you can say that these different types, they have rated based on the seriousness. And if you see, verbatim is one of the serious form of plagiarism. Global plagiarism is again one of the serious form of plagiarism. So likewise, you can see that how much serious this issue is nowadays in the academic fraternity, right? Now, let's move on the concept of what is basically a citation and why there is a need to give citation, because this is one of the most important aspect whenever we are discussing about the issue of plagiarism. So what is basically a citation? Citation is whenever you are borrowing any thought content from someone else's work, and it can be a direct quote, any studies, any data, any theory, any fact, or whenever you are paraphrasing or summarizing, you have to give citation or a credit to the original work from where you have borrowed the thought content or any text or any ideas or any data. So whenever you are giving citation, it basically tells the audience that a particular content in your work has been taken from a different source. So whenever you are giving citation in your research work, basically you are telling your reader that this portion of your research is not your own, that you have borrowed from this particular study or this particular research paper. And why there is a need to give citation? Because it helps others to find out more about your ideas and their origin. So if the user of your paper, he or she wanted to know what are the research papers which you have referred while writing your research paper. So while just going to the reference part of your research work, he or she can get an idea like what type of research paper you have consulted while writing your research paper. And you may be appreciated more for your ideas if people find them better than those of the original source. So whenever you are giving references, so basically you are giving a source to your reader where they can read the original paper. At the same time, they can also read your paper. So while giving the citation to all your research work, which you have borrowed, you know, from some other sources, you are basically telling your user that in this particular area, this is the existing literature and this is their finding, and this is how my research paper is different or my research paper is similar. So a citation is basically required to avoid plagiarism. This is one of the main reasons why there is a need to give citation while writing your research manuscript. Now, the next thing is, what is basically a citation style? Because whenever you have to give the bibliographical information of all the research papers which you have referred, you have to give that bibliographical information following a certain style, and that style is basically a set of rules on how to cite sources in academic writing. And these citation style guidelines are often published as an official handbook containing explanation, examples, and instructions. Like for example, if you have to follow the APA citation style, you go to the APA website and from there you can download the APA 6th style manual. And while going to that particular style manual, you will have various examples of how to cite a research paper which is published in a journal, how to cite a research paper which is published in a conference proceeding, how to cite a research paper where there are two authors, how to cite a research paper where there are more than three authors. So all sort of instructions, all sort of examples you can get if you are following any citation manual. And when we talk about the common citation style, there are basically three common citation styles. First one is APA, that is usually used in the discipline of education, psychology, and sciences. MLA, it is basically used in humanities. Chicago style, generally it is used in business, history, and fine arts. But other than these three, there are various citation styles which is developed by different journals, different associations, different publishers, right? And different university, they follow different citation style whenever we have to cite a source while writing our PhD thesis or while writing our research paper. Now, when you see the structure of citation style, generally it is having two features. The first feature is how to give a complete bibliographical information in the reference part of your research work, or in the bibliography part of your research work, or in work cited pages, where we give complete bibliographical information of the source which we have cited. Now, the next part of the citation its style, it's called in-text citation. Now, again, there is a difference between the in-text citation and the references. So when we have to use the in-text citation, whenever we are taking something directly from some other published work. So whenever you are quoting, whenever you are paraphrasing, whenever you are summarizing, in that case, you have to give in-text citation. And again, when we talk about the in-text citation, there are two major categories, or you can say there are two main type of in-text citation. First one is known as narrative in-text citation, and the second one is known as parenthetical in-text citation. So through this slide, you can see the example of how to give narrative in-text citation and how to give parenthetical in-text citation. So generally in narrative in-text citation, we write the last name of the author followed by the year of publication. And at the end of your passage, you have to give the page number. But in the parenthetical citation style, at the end of your paragraph or at the end of your sentence, you write the name of the last name of the authors, comma, year of publication, comma, page number. So this is how we can give in-text citation whenever we are taking something directly from already published source. Now the question is which type of in-text citation we have to follow. That varies from different citation style to different citation style. Like in APA, you have to give in-text citation in some other style. In Chicago, you have to follow different in-text citation style. But generally, there are two ways through which you can give in-text citations while writing your research paper. Now, the question you can ask to me is, do we need to cite each and everything which we are taking from some already published sources? The answer to your question is no, because there is a concept of common knowledge. And if you are writing something which falls under the category of common knowledge, in that case, there is no need to give citation to the source from where you are taking some information. But what is this common knowledge? Common knowledge is basically a well-known fact, a quote or information that is known to most of the people, and the same information you can find in number of sources. Like for example, if you are writing that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the first Prime Minister of India, in that case, there is no need to give citation of any sources from where you have taken this particular sentence, because it's a common knowledge, it's a well-known fact, and the same information you can find in number of sources. Another example I can give you is like in your research study, if you are writing that US entered World War II after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, there is no need to give citation to any source, because again, that information comes under the category of common knowledge. So whenever there is a concept of common knowledge, in that case, there is no need to give citation. But you should be very much careful about deciding whether that particular passage or information or sentence comes under the category of common knowledge or not. Now, the next very important thing under the concept of plagiarism is called paraphrasing. Now, it is very much true that for a research scholar, it is nearly impossible to write the 200 pages of his or her PhD thesis entirely is in own words. Nobody can do this thing. Even if you are writing your research paper of 7 or 8 pages, no one can write each and every word, which is unique and which is never published in some other sources. So that is why there is a concept of paraphrasing. And what is this paraphrasing? Paraphrasing means putting the original passage of text in your own words without changing its meaning. So what basically you are doing in this paraphrasing is you are reading some articles, and after reading the article, you are rewriting that particular passage in your own word. So if you are rewriting the same passage in your word where there is a no change in the meaning, that is called paraphrasing. But the most important thing is whenever you are paraphrasing, you have to give citation to the original source. Now, this is one of the best examples through which you can understand how to do paraphrasing of any original paragraph. Now, the first paragraph is original one, and the second one is the paraphrased version. And if you can see both these paragraph carefully, you can easily distinguish, or you can easily identify that whenever you are doing paraphrasing, first you have to give credit to the original author. That is why if you can read or if you can see the second paragraph, which is basically a paraphrased version of the first one, starts with the name of the author, Budke contents. So the first and important thing is you start that paraphrased version while citing the name of the author. And the main thing which you have to remember while doing the paraphrasing is you have to retain very few words from the original passage. And the next important thing is whenever you are doing paraphrasing, you always make sure that there is a no change in the meaning with the original paragraph. Now, just to help the researcher and the faculty member about doing the paraphrasing, there are some good artificial intelligence based tools are available. And if you wanted to use these tools, let me tell you, these are very good tools which are very much helpful in terms of doing paraphrasing. Like Quill Bold, it's a basically AI-based paraphrasing tool which researchers all over the world they are using for doing the paraphrasing. Next website is called paraphrasingtool.com, spinboard.com. So these three are well-known paraphrasing tools, and what you have to do is to just visit any of these tools, just copy the original passage and just use these tools. So they will give you a paraphrased version of the original paragraph. But the thing which you have to see carefully is sometimes these tools they are not 100% accurate, they are not 100% reliable. It is very much similar when we are translating any passage which is written in English language in a Hindi using the Google translator. So sometimes they make earth ka anarth, so the same thing you have to carefully see that while doing the paraphrasing with the use of these tools, whether there is a change of meaning of that particular paragraph is not or not, is there or not. So these are not 100% accurate and reliable source, I can say, but they are very much helpful in terms of doing the paraphrasing of the original paragraph, right? Now, what are the different ways through which we can prevent plagiarism? Now, the golden rule to avoid plagiarism is give proper references wherever it is required. So there is no harm if you are citing multiple sources in your research paper, right? And while doing paraphrasing, you make sure that you are rewording the original paragraph without altering the meaning of the idea, and try to avoid using too many similar words or phrases from the source. If you insert a source word into your writing, always use quotation. And there is a limitation that you can't use anything in quotation which is having more than 40 words, right? So there is again a limitation while using the quotation in your research writing. And the limitation is that should be less than 40 words. A direct quote should also cite the source so that readers know who the quote is from. So whenever you are citing your quotation, that means you are telling your reader that this particular quotation is not yours. This you have borrowed from this particular source. And include in-text citation whenever you are summarizing, whenever you are paraphrasing, or whenever you are quoting from some another source, and provide references even for photographs, diagrams, pictures, graph, and map. So generally, there's a misconception amongst the researcher scholars that we need to cite only in that case whenever we are taking some text or some content. But you should be very much careful while using the photographs, diagrams, pictures which you are borrowing from some other sources. In that case also, you have to give citation to the original sources. Let me give you one another example. Now suppose if I wanted to use the image of India Gate while writing my research paper. So generally what research scholars they do, they go to the Google image, type India Gate, and then the Google will give you list of thousands of images where you can find the India Gate. So generally we thought that if anything is available through Google, that is basically a free and there is no need to give citation. But you are wrong. That is free. It's 100% true. But nowhere it is written that whenever you wanted to use this particular image while writing your research paper, there is no need to give citation. Because if you go to the Google Advanced Search, there also you can filter out different type of licenses, and that licenses you can see under the tab usage right. And if you just click on the usage right, you can see there are different category of images are available which are covered up under different Creative Commons licenses. So you should always be very much careful while using any pictures, graph, and images. And if you can give citation to these images and graph also in your research paper, you will be always safe with the act of this plagiarism, right? Now let's discuss some of the initiatives MHRD has taken for preventing plagiarism in higher educational institutions. Now I am discussing some of the data which I have borrowed from UGC Annual Report 2017 and 18. And if you read this data, it says in 2018, 34,400 PhD research scholar and 29,059 MPhil has been awarded by different universities in India. And if you compare this growth with 2017, there is a net growth of 24.32% as far as awarding the PhD thesis and MPhil dissertation is concerned. And the total PhD admissions doubled from 77,798 in 2011 to 1,61,000 in 2017 and 18. So due to this enormous growth of doctoral research, the question of quality of research has come to the fore. And that is why, in order to improve the quality of education and research in Indian university, MHRD has decided to make use of anti-plagiarism software, and the same has notified in the UGC regulation 2018. And let me tell you, before this regulation, there is no foundation for any university to check the similarity of the PhD thesis which has been submitted in different universities. But after this regulation, now it is mandatory for every university that before awarding the PhD degree or MPhil degree, the department, they must check the PhD thesis and MPhil dissertation while using any anti-plagiarism software. And the basic purpose is to improve the quality of the research work which is submitted in different Indian universities. Now, this is the regulation which was notified by UGC on 23rd July 2018, and it is known as Promotion of Academic Integrity and Prevention of Plagiarism in Higher Educational Institutions. Now, almost all the universities in India, they are now following this regulation as far as awarding PhD is concerned. Now, if you read this regulation, it is having three basic objectives. The first objective is to create awareness about responsible conduct of research, thesis, dissertation, promotion of academic integrity, and prevention of misconduct, including plagiarism in academic writing amongst student, faculty, and research scholars. That is why now in this regulation, UGC has suggested that all the university, they must include the topic like plagiarism, reference management software, research ethics, publication ethics in their pre-PhD coursework, so that when the research scholar they are starting their research, they must know the importance and they must have the awareness about these concepts. And the second and third objective of this regulation is every university they must develop a system where they can check the PhD thesis and MPhil dissertation before awarding degree to the research scholar. And they have to set a mechanism, they have to subscribe to any software so that they can check the similarity of the research work. Now, as per this regulation, these are the content which needs to be checked under these guidelines. Like for example, if you are publishing your research paper, in that case, you have to check the similarity. In case you are submitting PhD thesis or MPhil dissertation, first you have to check the similarity. If you are publishing chapter in books, if you are publishing full-fledged book or any other similar work, you have to check the similarity of all these research manuscripts. And for the research scholars, UGC has also given a provision where before checking the similarity of these type of content, you can apply certain filters. Like all the quoted works which you have reproduced with all necessary permission, you can exclude while checking the similarity. So for example, if you are quoting something, if you are paraphrasing something, if you are summarizing something where you have given a proper references, you can exclude while checking the similarity. And again, if you read this UGC regulation, as per this regulation, PhD theses are divided into two parts. First is called non-core element and the second is called core element. What is core element? That will include references, bibliography, table of content, preface, and acknowledgement. So whenever you are submitting the final draft of your PhD thesis, you please exclude all these preliminary pages. You can exclude the reference part, you can exclude the bibliography, table of content, list of tables, list of figures, preface, and acknowledgement. You have to check the similarity of the core element of your research work. And that core element starts from your chapter 1 to your last chapter. And then all the generic terms, laws, standard symbols, and standard equations, you can apply this filter before checking the similarity. And as per this regulation, UGC has also given a filter which is called where there is a provision where research scholar they can exclude small matches up to 14 consecutive words. So first you have to apply all these filters and then you have to check the similarity of your PhD thesis. And as per this regulation, UGC has quantified different level of plagiarism under 4 categories. And these are level 0, where the similarity is up to 10%. Level 1, where the similarity is above 10 to 40%. Level 2, where the similarity is above 40 to 60%. And level 3, where the similarity is above 60%. Now, why UGC have quantified different level of plagiarism? Because based on these level, there is a penalties for both researcher as well as for their supervisor. So suppose if you are submitting PhD thesis and dissertation, and if your PhD thesis and dissertation is having less than 10% similarity, in that case, there is a no penalty. And anything which is having less than 10% is acceptable in any university. But if your PhD thesis is having 10 to 40% of similarity, in that case, such students shall be asked to to submit a revised script within a stipulated period not exceeding 6 months. So your department will give you a 6 month period to revise and resubmit the PhD thesis. And when you will submit the revised thesis, it must be under 10%. Now, level 2, where the similarity is of 40 to 60%, in that case, such students shall be debarred from submitting a revised script for a period of 1 year. And if the similarity is above 60%, such student registration for that program shall be cancelled. So these are the penalties which UGC has imposed in case there is a case of plagiarism. But in this regulation, UGC has also given autonomy to the university, where they have recommended that university they can form an institutional academic integrity panel. So whenever there is a case of plagiarism, first that case will be reviewed by institutional academic integrity panel, and that panel can give a penalty to the research scholar and the faculty member, right? And again, there is a penalty in case if you are publishing a research paper. So this regulation is available on the UGC website. You can also go and read the complete regulation. And you also must tell your research scholar and faculty member about these regulations so that they can also know how much UGC is taking serious this issue of plagiarism, right? Now, last year on 20th April 2020, UGC has issued a circular to all the vice chancellor of the university, where UGC has directed that university vice chancellor that in case of promotion, in case of selections, in case of credit allotment and awarding research degree, the committee must evaluate the applicant's published work to ensure that the work being submitted for promotion and selection is not self-plagiarized. So I've already explained you what is this self-plagiarism. You should be very, very careful while reusing your already published content. Now, even after this regulation, UGC has found that many universities in India, they don't have access of any plagiarism detection software. Like if you take the case of Turnitin, which is a commercial software, if any university they want to subscribe this software, they have to pay to the publisher every year. And depending upon the size of the university, the cost is vary. Like generally, any university they have to pay around 7 to 10 lakh rupees every year just to have the access of Turnitin software. But there are many state university and deemed university where they don't have such type of budget where they can afford the access of the commercial anti-plagiarism software. That is why UGC has decided to give free access of anti-plagiarism software to all the universities and all the higher educational institutions free of cost. And for this, UGC has done a global tendering process where a complete tender document where all the terms conditions were mentioned, and 6 or 7 companies which are developing such type of anti-plagiarism tools, they have participated in this global tendering process. And based on the technical and financial bid, the committee has awarded a nationwide contract to the Urkund software. So UGC, under its autonomous body InflibNet, and InflibNet under their initiatives Shodh Shuddhi, they have provided free access to Urkund software to all the central university, to all the state university, all the deemed university, even the private universities. If you are falling under the clause of UGC, you can get access. All the centrally funded technical institutions and IUC of UGC. Now they are having the free access of this software. And MHRD Minister Honorable Sri Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji has launched this program on 21st September 2019. And immediate after launching this initiative, a letter has been issued to all the university vice chancellor where it has been requested to get the access of this software free of cost through InflibNet. So Urkund is now available over 1,000 universities across India. And if you wanted to know in your state which are the university they are using Urkund software. You can go to the Shuddhi web page of InflipNet, and there you will find all such type of details. For Punjab University, our Honorable Vice Chancellor has appointed me University Coordinator for this software, and my role is to create login ID to each and every faculty member and the research scholar, and also to help them in terms of using this software for checking the similarity of the research work. Now, let's talk about what is basically Urkund. Urkund is a text matching software that is used to detect similarity. It compares your uploaded document with the source from 3 different sources. Now, Urkund, or we can say a Turnitin, or any anti-plagiarism software, they first develop their own repository. When we talk about the internet, when we talk about the Urkund, they are having their 3 different type of repository. First repository is their internet collection. Second repository is their published material, and the third is their student material. So whatever content is available through internet, all these content they are indexing in their repository. So whenever you are copying anything which is available in any website, blog, or any web page, the software will immediately tell you that this portion of your work you have copied from this website. The second repository of Urkund is called published material, where they have a tie-up with topmost publisher. So what these publishers they are doing, they are giving all their research paper to the Urkund, and whenever you are copying anything from any article which is published by IEEE, Taylor Francis, Wiley, Elsevier, immediately the software will tell you that this portion of your work has been copied from these sources. And the student material, as per the policy of Urkund, whenever you submit your document, it will become the part of their repository. So if you will copy something from any student assignment or something from the thesis or the dissertation, it will tell immediately that this portion of your work you have copied, which is submitted in different university. So this is how this Urkund system basically works, and it's basically a text matching software. And one more thing here I wanted to say is, whenever you are checking the similarity, no software will tell you that this portion of your work is plagiarized. They will say that this portion of your work is similar. And again, there is a difference between a plagiarized text and the similar text. Now, while giving you a live demo, I will explain you what is basically difference between similarity and the plagiarized text. Now, talking about how this software basically works. So it's very easy to use Urkund, and whenever you are creating account in Urkund, there are basically 2 type of account. First is the submitter, and the second is the receiver. So whenever you are creating account of your faculty and the research scholar, always make sure that they have activated both their account. So once they will activate their receiver account, that means you will give them a right where they can upload the document. Sorry, in the submitter account, when they create their submitter account, that means you are giving the right where they can upload the document. And once they will activate their receiver account, they will have the originality report using this Urkund system. Now, these are some of the instructions which you have to follow while submitting your final draft of PhD thesis or dissertation in the Urkund software. Because once you submit your document, it becomes part of their Urkund database. Although there is a provision where you can remove your research from the Urkund repository, but as per this policy, once you will submit, it will become their part. That is why don't try to upload the same document multiple times, because when you will submit the same document multiple times, it will show similarity from your previously submitted document. Although in the setting box, there is a provision where you can uncheck, search your own archive, but you should always, avoid submitting the same document multiple times. And Urkund has a provision where you can check the similarity of the document which is written in Hindi, Sanskrit, or any Indian language. But the condition is that particular text, it should be Unicode compliant, and you should follow the Mangal font for checking the similarity of the document which is written in Hindi, Sanskrit, or Indian languages. And as per the UGC 2018 guidelines, all these filters you can apply before checking the similarity. Now, talking about the Turnitin, Turnitin is a web-based plagiarism prevention system which is used by most of the university. So if you just wanted to know about the data, Turnitin compares student work against 60 billion web pages. So you just imagine how big this repository of Turnitin is having. Turnitin is having 600 million student papers that had been submitted to the Turnitin database, over 100 million articles from professional journals, periodicals, and publications, and submitted documents are added to a database of material from colleges and universities around the country. So whenever you submit your document just to check the similarity, it basically checks the similarity from its huge database of published article, of internet pages, and the student assignment which are submitted in these both the softwares. Now, these are some of the steps which you have to follow if you wanted to use this Turnitin system. Now, again, when we talk about the anti-plagiarism tools, there are basically two categories. First is the commercial tools like Turnitin and Urkund, and the second is free tools. Now, when we talk about the commercial tools, there is Turnitin, Authenticate, Grammarly, Blackboard, Urkund. They fall under the category of commercial tools where university they need to subscribe these tools just to have their access. And when we talk about the open access plagiarism detection tools, these are some of the common open access plagiarism tools, and these are Plagiscan, PlagTaker, CopyLeaks, Plagium, Plagiarisma, PaperRater, DupliChecker, right? So these are some open access tools which are available for the research scholar if they are not having access of any commercial software. Like for example, this is the screenshot of CopyLeaks, and once you just upload your document, so according to different pages, according to different paragraphs, it will show the similarity. Now it is showing that this particular portion of your research work is having matching with the 80 words, and when you click here, it will take you to the original source from where it is checking the similarity. Similar to CopyLeaks, there is another tool, it's called Plagiarism Detector. You just copy and paste your research paper into this portal, and it will show the similarity of your research work. Now, talking about the cases of misconduct in India, there is a one newsletter which is published by Society for Scientific Values. So if you wanted to know what are the cases which deals with the plagiarism and it has a serious impact, all such type of cases you will find in this online newsletter. You simply go to Society for Scientific Values. There you can find all such details. And there are other few serious cases where it has been found. This is the news which is published in Hindustan Time in 2016, where the Vice Chancellor of the Pondicherry University has to quit her job after a prolonged standoff with the HRD ministry following allegations that she plagiarized large part of one of her books. In another case, 7 Stanford University professors they wrote to then President APJ Abdul Kalam about Kumayu University Vice Chancellor B.S. Rajput on the similar issue. And the University of Hyderabad Vice Chancellor Appa Rao was accused of plagiarizing his thesis, and then he has to resign from his post. So there are many serious cases which you can find on different websites, and this is one of the good websites if you wanted to know about the cases of misconducted, which is investigated by Society of Scientific Values. Now, just to conclude the first part of my presentation, I just wanted to say that in academia, plagiarism is now taken as a serious academic offense, and it has serious personal and professional consequences. An accusation of plagiarism can severely damage your reputation, and it could result in the loss of research funding and even your position. Now, so this is the first part of my presentation where I have just discussed about the concept of plagiarism. Now I will take you to the live demo of Turnitin as well as the Urkund software. Now, as I mentioned, like if you wanted to have access of Turnitin, then your college or your institution has to subscribe to this software. So once your university administrator will create an account for your Turnitin, in that case, first you have to create your class, and under class you have to create your assignment, right? So this is the assignment page of one of the login, and then once you will create an assignment, then you just click on this view button, and when you click on this view button, it will take you to the page where you can submit a fresh document or new document which you wanted to check using this software. And these all are the papers which are already checked using this Turnitin software. So suppose if you wanted to submit a new file for checking the similarity, so what you have to do is you just write the first name of the author, last name of the author, title of your research manuscript, and you just browse that particular file which you have saved on your desktop or your laptop, and just upload that particular document into this Turnitin repository, right? So you can just select this document, and just when you click on this open, right, and then just you click on this upload, and this particular file has been uploaded into the database of Turnitin for similarity check. Now, before uploading any paper in the Turnitin software, there are certain things which you should be very much careful. And all these settings you can get under the tab, it's called Edit Assignment Setting. So when you click on this Edit Assignment Setting, it will take you to the Turnitin setting page. And all such filters which I have already discussed with you, you can apply before uploading your document into this Turnitin database. For example, what you can do is you can exclude all the bibliographical materials from similarity index. And this exclusion is also, you know, written in this UGC 2018 guidelines. You can exclude all the quoted materials from similarity index. So once you click on this yes button, so it will exclude all that passages or sentences which you have written in the quotation mark. And then as per this UGC policy, you can apply a filter of small sources. So when you click on yes, and here you can just write the 14 words. So it will eliminate 14 consecutive words from your research manuscript, and then it will generate the report. So you can apply this exclude bibliographical materials, you can apply this filter exclude quoted material, and you can also exclude the small sources. And one last important thing which you should be always very much careful, that whenever you are submitting your research paper to Turnitin database, you always double sure that it is submitted to no repository. Suppose if you have submitted your research paper to standard paper repository, in that case your paper will be uploaded on the Turnitin database. And next time when you submit your document, it will show 100% similarity with your previously submitted document. And then you have to follow, a proper process if you wanted to remove this document. So just to avoid all these things, what you can do is before uploading the document, you make sure that it is going to the no repository. And once you are done with all these settings, in that case, you just click on this submit button. So whatever settings you have applied, that will be saved on the Turnitin database, right? Once you click on the submitted, all these changes you can easily make. And then you just go to the assignment page, or you can just go while clicking with this back button, and all these are the documents which you have checked. Now suppose this is the document, it is showing 16% or 15% similarity. Now even the Turnitin is not saying that 15% of your work is a plagiarized. It is saying that 15% of your work I have found similar with some other sources. Now there are two things whenever you are using any anti-plagiarism software. First thing is uploading the document, and before uploading the document, you should apply all such filters which is recommended by the UGC. And once you will submit the document, and once the software will give you the report, next and very important thing is analyzing the report, because it is not a final thing that this document is having 15% similarity. Now let's discuss about how we can analyze this report. Now, when you click on this 15%, it will show you, just a second, this report is downloading, just a second. Okay, so now when you click on this 15%, so you can see that you will find a different color combination where your paper is showing some sort of similarity. Now, for example, this particular sentence is found similar with this particular website. And when you click here, from here, you can directly go to the original source and you can compare. So first you have to see which portion of your work is showing higher level of similarity. And that particular portion you have to again rewrite, you have to make changes in that particular paragraph. And then again, you can submit the revised version of your research paper and you can check the similarity. Now, as per the policy of the UGC, it is saying that if you have published research paper from the PhD thesis, and whenever you are checking the similarity of your PhD work, you can exclude all those research paper, which is basically are part of your PhD thesis. Now, for this, what you can do is you just click here and it will give you list of all the sources from where it is showing similarities. Now, for example, this is one of your research paper which you have published from your PhD thesis, and with the consultation with the supervisor, you can exclude this paper from your Turnitin report. So when you click on this sources, now it will decrease the percentage. Now again you have to check, because why it is not decreasing this 15%, because there are few other research papers which are available in different. For example, you have published your research paper, let's say with Elsevier journal. So the first source, it will tell you the website of Elsevier where that particular paper is available. Sometime other than Elsevier, like for example, if you have uploaded the same research paper on ResearchGate, it will also show the similarity of your research work with the ResearchGate paper. Or if you have uploaded your research paper, the same research paper on academia.edu, it will also show similarity with that particular paper also. So you have to carefully select all those sources from this list of sources so that you can exclude all the research work which you have published from this work. And once you select all such research paper and just click on exclude button, then definitely now it is showing the 14% similarity. So this is how you can analyze the report. So first thing is you just open the report, you see the report carefully, and whenever there is a provision where you can exclude some sources, you can exclude that particular source. And after exclusion, after applying certain filters, that will be the final level of similarity percentage. Now, if it is showing 14% similarity, in that case, you have to modify your research paper so that you can bring it down below 10%. So this is how this Turnitin basically works. And there are other filters also, like from here also, you can apply these filters, like you can exclude the quoted works, you can exclude the bibliography, and you can also put this filter of small matches up to 14 words. So suppose you forgot to do settings, you forget to apply these filter under the setting tab, the same filters you can apply from here also, right? So this is a quick overview of how this Turnitin works. So first you have to upload the document, and once the document is uploaded, then you have to analyze the report, right? So this is about the Turnitin. Now the similar type of process you can see in Urkund also. Like for example, when you click on this Urkund, now they have changed its names to original. Now the software is known as original. So when you click on this Urkund login, Just click on this login page, and here you can see there are two types of login available. The first login is for the university coordinator. Like in case of Punjab University, I am the university coordinator. So when I click on this admin panel, then I can create a login ID for my faculty and the research scholar. But if you are just a user of Urkund software, in that case, you just click on this login into web inbox, and then you can log into this portal while entering the login ID and password. Like for example, like this is my login ID. So once I will log in into this portal, just a second. Now this is the my inbox page. So first thing is you have to activate both your receiver and the submitter account, right? And how you can check whether you have activated your receiver account or not. You just click on this create and upload button and just create on upload file. Sorry. Okay, upload file. Suppose this is the document which you wanted to upload in this Turnitin repository. For example, this one. And then you have to select the analysis address. And this is the unique address which Urkund is creating for each and every of their user. So suppose if this analysis address is not coming here, that means you have not activated your receiver account. So in that case, you can again ask your university coordinator to send a fresh link so that you can activate your receiver account. Until unless you don't have this receiver account, you will not able to see the report which is generated by the Urkund. So you just select the analysis address from here, enter the topic of your research work, and then click on this upload file, right? Once you click on this upload file, the document will be uploaded on your Urkund software. And once that document will be submitted to the Urkund document, similar to this Turnitin, it will show the level of similarity. And from here, you can see how much similarity your paper is showing in this Urkund software. Now, suppose it is showing 36% of similarity. You just click here and click on open report. So when you click on this open report, the report will be open in a new tab. And from here, you can see the different filters, or you can analyze this report. And if you can justify, you can bring down this 36% to any level of percentage. Like for example, if you click here, it will give you analysis overview. Analysis overview means you can see from the page wise, like first page of your research paper is showing high level of similarity. In a fourth page, there are few paragraph which is showing similarity. So from here, you can get a quick overview, like on which pages it is showing high level of similarity. Now, there is another option, it's called matching text. When you click on this matching text, it will give you a comparative window. And what is this comparative window is? This is the document, this is the paragraph which you have written in your manuscript, and this is the original source from where it is giving comparison. So likewise, you just click on next, 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 and from here also you can see which portion of my work is showing higher level of similarity, and then you can modify that particular portion of your research work. And suppose if this particular portion you have given in a quotation mark and that you wanted to exclude using this software, you just click here and this portion of your work will be excluded while checking the similarity. So you should be very much careful that if you have given anything in a quotation mark and for this you have given proper citation, that you can exclude while using this Urkund software, right? And then you just click on next, 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 and you can see how much similarity this software is showing with some other published material. Now, one more thing here is similar to the Turnitin, there is a one tab, it's called sources. So when you click on the sources tab, it will give you a list of all the sources from where it is showing 35% of similarity. Now, suppose this is the research paper which you have published from your thesis, and it is showing 23% of similarity. In that case, you can exclude from here. Just click here and just select the level 1, the save and continue, and then you can see earlier it was showing 35% of similarity. Now it is showing 15% of similarity. But whatever exclusion you are doing, when you download the report, it will highlight all that particular exclusions which you have applied while checking the similarity or while analyzing your Urkund report. So before analyzing your report, you always sit with your supervisor and then see if there is any possibility where you can exclude some of your research paper, which Urkund is showing similar with your submitted work, that you can do while using this particular document or this particular software. And once you are done with analyzing this report, you just click here, and you click here, the report will be downloaded in your download folder, and the same report you can submit to your department. And generally in our university, the practice which we are following is once the report is final, then in that case the research scholar is taking the printout of first two pages. First page is it is showing the similarity, and the second page is the title page, and both the pages they are signed by the supervisor as well as the chairperson of that particular document. And the soft copy of complete report research scholar they are submitting to into their department, right? So the access of this software, this Urkund software, as I mentioned, is provided free of cost to all the universities and higher educational institutions. And suppose if your university is not having access of this software, you can directly contact the InflibNet, and then your university or your institution will have access to this software, right? This is the quick overview about the Turnitin and the Urkund software. And if you wanted to know more about this Urkund software, you just visit InflibNet website, and from here you can get all such details. Like if you wanted to know which are the university in different states which are using this software, all such data you can get from this particular institute, this particular website. So category wise institution, state wise institutions, right? So from here you can check like which universities or institutions they are using. Like Chandigarh, if I wanted to see, it is showing 4 institutions Chandigarh they are using this software. When you click here, it will give you a list of all the universities. Like NITTR Chandigarh is using, Punjab University is using, and it will also give you the name of the coordinator, and PGIMER Chandigarh is using, and then PEC, which is deemed university. So all these 4 institutions we are using Urkund software. So suppose if your institution is not having access of this software, in that case you can directly contact to this InflibNet people, and once the formality will be done, your institution will get the access of this Urkund software free of cost, right? Again, in this Urkund, there is a one provision where you can also arrange all the submitted document into different folders. Like for example, under your supervision, there are 4 or 5 research scholars they are working. So you can create a different folders under the name of your research scholar, so that the research work which is submitted in this portal, it is not visible to some other research scholar. So if you wanted to maintain some secrecy or privacy, that you can also do while using this Urkund software, and you can create a different folder where you can upload different research papers or PhD thesis that belongs to a particular research scholar, right? So this is about the demo of Urkund software. So that's all from my end. So